Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. Well, historic day. We got the news this morning that the Ethereum ETFs have all been given the green light. So yes, I think my long-term target of 10K is finally in sight now. We're going to have a look at the Ethereum charts and I want to talk about the altcoin Memecoin cycle and how it's a little bit different this time around and why that is specifically. So look, Ethereum's been in the spotlight with the regulatory certainty around whether or not it was a security, and we know the SEC and the political environment has been pretty anti-crypto the past few years or past decade, but that's all really turned on its head. Even just in the past week, we saw the chances that Ethereum ETF pretty low, and here we are with it being approved. So I've spoken about why that is if you've been following along on our socials with our little short clips and whatnot, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit more today. But that now makes 2 out of the 5 coins in our regulatory favourable portfolio for you guys that have been members and following along that have been approved. So it really is these older coins, I think the ones that have been more decentralised, proof of work, stood the test of time, widely listed on exchanges. They're the sort of categories we look for. But let's just have a look at the Ethereum chart. So a bit like all crypto, we've had a pretty monster run and we had a bit of a breather. And Kyle and I were really looking for this pullback. As always, we seem to hit this golden zone and we've had a really strong bounce. So the technicals often align with the fundamentals, and a bit like with Bitcoin when we felt that it was being suppressed a little bit, and the insiders all throughout that bear market, the powers that be with all the money on Wall Street knew that these ETFs were coming, and they put out bad news and they talk it down while they're accumulating. And then once they're ready to go and make money and profit off all the fees, it launches, and they obviously get to benefit from that greatly. So a bit of a falling wedge here. We hit that golden zone perfectly. Now we've had a bit of a whipsaw today, and a similar thing happened on Bitcoin, which we'll look at in just a second. And that ETH Bitcoin ratio, same again. If we zoom out really big picture, we tend to have these nice retraces right into that golden zone. So technically, it's all looking like a great setup for Ethereum to outperform. And in past cycles, that meant that altcoins would follow next. But we're going to get into why meme coins have changed that a little bit. But just quickly, all this US political news. So the SEC has been trying to ban US companies from owning crypto. That bill got overturned. We've seen Donald Trump come out and accept crypto and say, hey, vote for me, I'm pro-crypto, and Biden doesn't even understand crypto. And now the Biden administration have seemed to have flipped and quickly looking to approve more of this crypto legislation in a more favourable way. So whether or not it's all part of the buying votes for the election year or not, either way, it's all super bullish for crypto, so I'm not too fussed. But really interesting to see how quickly this is all coming about now. Even today, we've got this other bill that's been passed to look to ban the Fed from issuing a central bank digital currency. Now, obviously, that's a huge net positive if you've been following along with the channel and keeping up to date with everything that's happening in the world. Gradually, our freedoms are being eroded. We're living in this totalitarian mass surveillance society, and crypto and decentralized systems are a step away from that to give power back to the people. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. Now, huge use case for Bitcoin as money, and huge use case for Ethereum and other layer 1 blockchains trying to rebuild the internet and decentralize the digital world as more and more of our lives are moving online. But let's just have a look at the Bitcoin chart. So the Bitcoin ETF got approved on the 10th of January. So in this week here, we saw a lot of whipsaw up and down, and we even had a little pullback afterwards, a bit of a shakeout for people that maybe get too excited and jump on exchanges and leverage up. So it doesn't mean that ETH can't have a little bit more of a wiggle down, but ultimately in the coming weeks and months, I expect huge inflows into the Ethereum ETFs, just like we saw with Bitcoin. So you can see here the cumulative flows. A lot of people were getting out of Grayscale that had the higher fees and into these other ETFs, and just the net cumulative flows have been positive and looking to re-accelerate again lately. So I'm not saying that Bitcoin's not going to continue to go up medium term. I just think that the stage is now set for Ethereum and probably altcoins and the meme coins, which I'm going to get to in just a second, to finally start to perform, because they've really been lacking behind. It's been all about Bitcoin this cycle. But in terms of the next ETFs, Now we've got the Ethereum ETF. There's no reason why we're not going to see an altcoin top 10 ETF, the basket of currencies that we see, just like we have the gold miners, the silver miners, these baskets and these indexes that become listed products as people seek to get into things that might outperform. Now we're in a crypto bull market. So let's just have a look at these meme coins. You can click on this as a category on the different coin market caps, coin geckos, and these different sites that list all the cryptocurrencies. But I want to talk about unit bias. And often you'll notice that these things are priced wildly low with plenty of zeros here in the cents because they've got a huge circulating supply. And so what that does, it creates a unit bias. So, humans, we have these inherent biases, cognitive biases, where we tend to want to complete a given unit or given task or something as a whole. And, that size does subconsciously come into our decision-making process. So unit bias in crypto is very much a real thing based on our general unit biases. And people, particularly retail investors that are new to the market, they'll come in and they'll see these coins. And rather than thinking, I've got my $1,000 or my $10,000, I can only buy 0.1 or 0.01 of a Bitcoin, whatever it is, it's much sexier and better talk socially to say, I bought 1 million of this coin. What if it ever gets to $1? And that's as far in terms of research as a lot of people go when they're entering the crypto space. And they also hear about how hard these coins have pumped for the people that got in early. So they do tend to pump the hardest, but it tends to be for a very small number of people. And then you have the survivor bias where you hear all the stories about the guy that turned $1,000 into $1 million in a couple of weeks. But just remember, there's for that one guy to get $1,000 into $1 million, it means there's X number of people that all lost that money, that have turned his investment into profit. So not everyone can win. So keep that in mind. But in terms of a historical snapshot, so unit bias isn't new. And in past cycles, let's have a look back to the start of 2017 here, when we got into that really hot bubble by the end of 2017 and Jan 2018, altcoins all topped. But if you have a look back here, look at the coins that kind of pumped the hardest and the unit bias we had at the time. So XRP went from less than a cent to $3 or whatever it hit in January 2018. So huge pump from the coins that had the lowest in terms of that mindset, what if it just ever hits $1? And these were the coins that were listed on a lot of the exchanges. So NEM was another one. Waves, the lowest coins tended to really pump the hardest. So if we have a look at the exchanges now, it's not really like it was even just a few years ago. These large exchanges are very willing to list a lot of coins. So Binance, Coinbase, and Bybit here, 1,000 markets, 400, nearly 900 different coins. So for people that are signing up to these exchanges, the reality is that most people still aren't using their MetaMask or their Leather wallet or Rabi wallet, these Web3 wallets or their ledger, and storing their own crypto. Most people are still just buying on an exchange. But nowadays we have the Pepes and all these really low priced coins, SHIB, Bonk, Floki. You go down the list here. They're very easy to get, and they have this unit bias which attracts the investors. So that's one thing I want you to really keep in mind, that why I think this cycle has been a little bit different. Because yes, altcoins tended to run, but think about, well, why is that? Now, I still think that Bitcoin DeFi, that narrative that we've been talking about, is one of the most real plays for altcoins and for fundamentals for this next cycle. So we've been doing Bitcoin DeFi best protocol interviews. We've done our research. If you remember, you can see what coins we like in that space and new investments we're looking to make and the ones that I own in my portfolio. But when Bitcoin DeFi, when we get that total value locked and we start to see hundreds of millions and billions of dollars locked in these Bitcoin DeFi plays, and people staking Bitcoin and borrowing against it with stable coins, being able to swap the different Bitcoin layer 2s, very cheap fees, all the stuff that came to Ethereum that saw that huge DeFi cycle, then NFTs and gaming all take off. So I think that's all going to come to Bitcoin. It's not going to be a smooth ride. Just the other day we saw Alex Labs have a hack, and they're looking to sort that out. But this is all the stuff that happened in Ethereum. It wasn't smooth sailing. There's going to be technical issues. It's going to take time. So very exciting medium term, but I think that's where fundamentals are going to come in, and you can't argue with the numbers. Once you have billions of dollars going through a protocol and it generates fees, all that stuff is real revenue and income and real growth, which is different to this meme coin speculation. So when retail comes in, yes, meme coins are probably going to pump and become the new altcoins to some degree, but the best quality altcoins, which is why we do all this research, are still going to do really well. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that update. Head over to nuggetsnews.com.au for more information on everything we do. Otherwise, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share these videos around, and I'll talk to you again soon. Cheers.